This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com. Hello my friends, the Game Boy Geek here. The second edition of a really popular game, King of Tokyo, just came out, and I'm here going to show you the differences between this second edition with a lot of new artwork and the first edition that you're probably most familiar with. So let me show you all about it. Well, here's the different boxes. First thing you notice is this seems to really fly right off the shelf at you, a much more modern look and a little bit more cartoony art. Those are the two different boxes. Well, let's look at the difference of the characters. The bottom is the older version, and this is the newer edition. We have Gigazor, and as you can see, with all of these, the Gigazor, the King, the Mecha Dragon, the Alienoid, again, all the newer artwork just seems a little bit more realistic looking, as opposed to the sort of more cartoony look of the older style. Though this still looks cartoony, but it still looks more realistic than, say, all these other characters. So those are how the different characters look. Now here's the two biggest changes in the characters. Cyber Bunny is gone. Due to legal issues, they had to get rid of Cyber Bunny, and now they've made Cyber Kitty. The Kraken is absolutely gone. He might be brought back later. And in his place is Space Penguin. This used to only be a promo that you could get. This was the older Space Penguin that you could get. I got it from a tournament. It was really hard to get, but now it's actually in the base game. Here's the different art style for the boards. The older one on the bottom, and again, the new one on the top. I actually sort of like these newer ones. At least this is a little bit darker. You could see it a little bit better. But again, this is going to be mostly a personal preference, which one you like better. But bottom is the first edition, and the newest edition here, second edition, is on the top. And here are the other three characters. Again, bottom is the first edition, top is the second edition. You can see obviously the difference between Cyber Bunny and Cyber Kitty there. The much big difference in Gigazor there. Definitely looks a lot different, a lot more cartoony, realistic here. And then Space Penguin versus the Kraken boards. Now here's the difference in the dice. First edition, second edition. The dice on the new edition look to be the same size, but I think they're actually a tiny bit smaller. If I put this dice right on here, it just looks like there's a little bit of overlap here. It's not a lot, but it does look a tiny bit smaller. And also the fonts look a little bit different. Maybe the numbers are a little bit thinner, so to speak. And these dice, you can probably even see this one's a little bit brighter than this one. And then these ones, again, they look to be maybe a little bit tinier. Now the cards themselves are different. The older first edition had the box art on it, where this does not. And there's one card that's changed how it works, and that's monster batteries. It's one more expensive. But before, you'd have to take how many energy you have and have the bank match it and then take some off. Where this one has you add 6 from the bank right on it, then you take it off. So this card's a lot more useful now. Now, first edition's on the bottom, second edition's on top like usual, and you can just see the different artwork here. Corner Store looks quite different. Gas Refinery had the older Mecha Dragon, now it has the newer Mecha Dragon. Herbivore looks different. And so the cards, yes, they're a little bit more clear here, a little bit more digital images. And finally, we have the boards here. First edition's on the left, new edition's on the right. The biggest difference is, yes, it's more, again, digital clear artwork here. There's less flames going on here than there are here. And then this one has some sort of language written on some of the buildings where this one does not. But that's the difference of the two boards. Well, there you have all the differences. Now, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this. I understand the reason for doing it. The main driving force is this is becoming a digital app in the future, and the older artwork just wasn't able to be transformed to the digital images with the quality and resolution that they needed for the larger screens. So they had to do a recount of all of the artwork, and so they gave the thing a whole facelift. I personally, this is going to be a very personal thing where some people are going to like the newer art better and some are not. And I'm in the camp of, I tend to like the older art better. It seems more timeless to me. This other new art seems a little bit more trendy, a little bit more of the moment. And a few years down the road, we're going to look at the older artwork and like it better. At least I will. But it might just be the fact that I'm just so used to the old art that getting something new and anything with change just feels a little weird to me. This is going to be certainly a personal thing. Now, there's a couple of compatibility things I need to talk about. The power cards, the cards that you buy with the different energy cubes. The first edition had those cards with the box on the back of those cards, so they had to change the design, obviously, because of those reasons. And because of that, any of the older sort of promo cards or things like that are not going to be compatible with this. But Yellow says they're going to be allowing you to buy at a good price some sleeves that will help you, make these compatible and use future cards as well. The monsters, well, you leave Cyber Bunny for legal reasons, and now you have Cyber Kitty. At least those are kind of close. But then you completely get rid of the Kraken and bring in Space Penguin. I am not happy about this, only because I was one of the very few people that got a Space Penguin because I was in a tournament in Phoenix and went to Gen Con as an Arizona State winner. And I was one of the few that got the Space Penguin, and now everybody can get them. And so I had something really cool, and now everybody can get them, so it devalued the one I had. So for personal reasons, I don't like that. But I think as in general, everyone's gonna love the Space Penguin because everyone really wanted it. Although, my friend Greg that I play this with a lot, his favorite character was the Kraken, so now he's sad. So there you have it. The evolutions, the power-up expansions. Well, basically you have to take Cyber Bunny's cards and play them with Cyber Kitty, and they say you take the monsters that were added and use them with that. It's going to be a little weird playing power-up where you're using the Kraken's abilities but using it with Space Penguin. Weird. But Yellow says they're going to be announcing a future expansion for power-ups with the new monsters as well. So for people that are concerned about compatibility, sure, there are some concerns here. I think some people will be quite upset at some of this, that you're going to be forced to buy sleeves, and that you're going to be forced to buy a new expansion, that some of the cards don't mix. And so I think some of the people that have King of Tokyo now bought the first edition might be a little upset and might not get the second edition. But if you're brand new and you haven't bought it, buying the second edition is going to put you sort of future-proof. And if you buy any of the older promo cards and things like that, then you'll need the sleeves to go through it. So there's quite a lot of confusion too about what's going to be compatible, what's not. But I can definitely see the reason for doing it is giving it the facelift for the 5 years, and majorly because of the app. And so I get that. I understand why they're doing it. I do like the way the box looks better. I like the way it really pops off. It does look like a nice newer version. But, man, I just really like the older artwork better. Plus, the dice. Now, if I give you the sort of Pepsi challenge and blindfolded you and gave you one of these sets of dice in your hand without looking at the other ones, I don't think you'd be able to tell which one is which. But when they're side by side, you can definitely tell these new dice are smaller. Hence, by a little bit, but even so, it's still enough to make me go, ugh. Man, part of the thing I loved about King of Tokyo is chucking these huge dice. But again, I don't think you're going to be able to tell if in the Pepsi challenge there. But I just wish they were the same size. I'm not sure why they changed it. Maybe to keep costs down, maybe a different manufacturer or what have you. But I'm not happy about that. So overall, personally, I like the older edition better. Bigger dice, same artwork, no compatibility issues. But going further, I know when all the new things come out, having this new edition is going to make you more future-proof. So I wouldn't go out there and get it if you don't have it. But if you have it, it's probably all going to be finding soon. But those are sort of the differences in how I feel about the new second edition versus the first. This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.